Hey everyone from around the world, welcome to the fourth industrial revolution, also known as the IR4 podcast, where we like to focus on cryptocurrencies, blockchain solutions, nanotechnology, 3D printing, and all things past, present, and future. Today we have a phenomenal episode for the entire world to be a part of. We have the opportunity of speaking with two of the co-founders of Ethereum, Mr. Mahesh and Salih. You're going to absolutely enjoy this interview. We're going to be discussing smart contracts. What does the future hold? What blockchain solutions are right around the corner? Which ones we're most excited about? Which ones we're looking forward to? And how investors can take advantage of this space. Make sure to join. If you want, go here, patreon.com/IR4. Click that button and become a member of the IR4 podcast. We do not have any advertisements. We are fully funded by incredible investors and people who would like to create brainwaves just as yourself. So let's dive in together, enjoy this interview, and create those brainwaves. You're amazing. So tell us a little bit about how both of you got started in this industry. What was that like?
Okay. Yeah, you can start. Yeah.
All right, a little bit of my background, I guess. So I used to work at JP Morgan.
Yep.
I was there for almost 10 years in Houston, and doing obviously investment banking, trading, those kind of applications. I was in software. And then I'd been following fintech and all that stuff for obviously a long time at JP, but I didn't get a chance to actually work on it.
Right.
You can hear me fine, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So then I decided, I needed to get into that space, and I left JP and started, looking at fintech, and that's where I stumbled into blockchain and the crypto space. And I started going to these meetups and stuff like that, and that's where I met Sai. And then we decided, okay, we're gonna get together and start something. And we were working together one day, and then we literally bumped into Salih, and we got talking, and then here we are.
And that was it. Wow, very cool, very cool. It's like
We were living at the same community actually. At the same environment, so like at a cafe we have met, and I saw, it's amazing idea, we can do it together.
Yep.
And it started all.
Yeah. So how long has Ethereum been going on now?
Like it's around since September.
September, yes.
Yeah, but we have started like 3 or 5 months ago. Before that,
Sure.
Before website going live.
Right.
Why have you guys chosen to focus on Ethereum other than another blockchain, say EOS or?
No, it's a great question. We needed to start with a focus, and the biggest what we have seen is Ethereum is differing from other cryptos at the time. So we thought that it would be better for us to go forward for the future. Like, it will be not something like, even though cryptos can go up or down, it doesn't matter, but Ethereum devs or Ethereum technology on the behind will be always over there. So we have focused on Ethereum with smart contracts and Ethereum-based ICOs.
Interesting. So what's the future and the vision for Ethereum?
So right now, we are basically a news website, news portal for investors, traders, and analysts. And we are going to make it a little bit more like a social platform for traders also. Like our audience is basically traders who are interested in about price predictions mostly.
Sure.
So we are going through it, and we are finding some solutions how to make it automate some price predictions. How can we make price predictions according to volumes, search volumes, or trading volumes, or demand, supply, what other criteria. We are right now working on it actually, and at the same time, Mahesh is also working on a blockchain that can writers and readers can pay each other, or that they can be paid whatever they write, whatever they share. He can actually
Right.
mention about it.
Yeah. So basically, the whole idea of blockchain applications, or the dApps, is peer-to-peer or decentralized, whatever you want to call them, right?
Right.
So the idea is that readers, a lot of the readers, what happens right now is, for example, if you see an article on, say, Facebook, and you share it with somebody, right? You just share it. That's the end of the story, right?
Right.
And the readers may, or the writers may, be able to make some monetization out of that, or maybe not. It just depends. Facebook definitely will. So
Yeah.
the idea is that we are looking at a blockchain solution, some sort of a dApp, which will kind of help both the reader and the author and kind of monetize this whole idea, and kind of make some sort of a social aspect to the sharing. So it's
how would that be different
idea right now?
How would that be different to the Steam blockchain?
It would be kind of similar, but the idea is that you don't have to actually be on the Steam blockchain itself. So the application would take care of it for you. So I signed up for Steam, and there's you actually need to sign up and be on the blockchain, and so on and so forth. So the idea was that we would kind of make it so that it's a little less or a little more agnostic.
Yeah.
That's the general idea.
Gotcha. How long did it take you guys to understand what the blockchain was once you first heard about it?
That's an interesting question. So, like I said, I was a developer by background, and even for me, it took some time to figure out what.
Yeah.
I was a developer. I am a developer, I guess. So pretty technical.
Yep.
But even then, getting the hang of blockchain took it took a little bit.
Yeah.
But we got the hang of it, and able to develop applications. So back to your earlier question about why Ethereum. The main idea, and that's what 90% of ICOs are using, right?
Yep.
So it made sense for us to do that. You asked about EOS. EOS is they just released their blockchain, or they just launched it, or whatever. A couple of weeks ago or something, or last week something. So it was just an idea when we got going on Smarterium. So that's why Ethereum was the biggest blockchain out there. So
Sure.
that's
Right. Now, are you guys gonna take that business framework and apply it to other blockchains? Smarterium, and then will you have trying to think like a Bitcoin? Let's just go with Bitcoin. You're gonna have a Bitcoin type website where you use the same type of business model.
Well, Sally can talk about it as well. But
Basically, after launching our idea, executing it, we can actually promote it with other websites, not with crypto also, actually going to mainstream. Maybe it might help also for cryptos go more mainstream. We can also promote it in other websites, like even for New York Times or Washington Post can also use the dApp. If we can make it as a plugin for their systems, then they will have all the functionality, all the specifications of our tool, actually.
Gotcha. Yeah. I love the idea of it.
For me, blockchain is I'm mostly non-technical guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm always talking with blockchain developers and blockchain recruiters, or how they evaluate the skills. Because the problem is right now, you can see lots of blockchain developer in the scan, maybe, but the problem is you don't know what you will get from them because you, there is nothing to do how you will evaluate their skills. It's the problem now. Um, there are lots of companies looking for blockchain developers, but they don't even know how to evaluate the skills, blockchain skills. What they know, what they will help with, or what will be the result with going with them. And also, right now, there are lots of ICOs over there, and post ICOs actually, they have raised lots of money, but they don't know what to do with this money right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Manish. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were saying, Brian?
Oh, I thought I was going to let Mahesh go, but I was going to say the lack of solutions that we've seen in this space is, especially for the amount of investment that has came in, is just a shame. You know, the people have all these capital resources to put into use, but are they really doing that? Because I still haven't seen any huge blockchain solutions come to fruition to date, and it's been probably about just a year now since the ICO boom really started to happen. You know, Ethereum created the whole platform to do so, which is great, and everyone's been doing these things. But now, what are the other solutions that are going to happen? Everyone talks about how blockchain can help voting and you know, the supply chain and healthcare, but where are they at? Where are the solutions at? And I'm like, okay, let's get these things moving.
Yes, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge right now is that people have this tool in front of them, and they're trying to figure out how they can use it. Everybody has ideas of how that's going to work. Pretty much everybody has said, right? This is like the early stages of the internet.
Yep.
There are articles written back in like 93, 94, 95 or something where people were like, oh, the internet? Oh, okay, this is just a fad, you know? And that's what, I think that's where we are at right now with blockchain. There's a lot of hype, a lot of interest, a lot of investments, but no real solution yet.
For sure. And you know, if you go back to the internet and you think about the internet time, what was the internet providing for us? It was this tool, but how could we utilize it? So that's why everyone bought up all these domains, pets.com, and they thought they were going to be millionaires because they own a domain. But then we realized what the tool of the internet was, and that's to share information. And I think the blockchain, what people need to really understand is that instead of just trying to throw blockchain solutions at the wall, what are centralized entities that really need to become decentralized? That is the point of this. It's a trust network. You're decentralizing a centralized type of network, and it's a distributed ledger so everyone can see what's going on, whether it's anonymous or not. But if you start focusing on those key principles, I think that these developers will start to understand, because it's just like the internet, like you said, all these it's a fad, and it's, if not already going away right now, especially with Chairman Clayton saying that, you know, all ICOs smell like a security. And if that's the case, a lot of these are going to be not going down, but just going away because they haven't done it the correct way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think real blockchain solutions, I'm thinking, are probably, you know, 2 to 3 years down the line. That's my timeline. I mean, there's going to be a lot more investment, and a lot of people are going to be burnt. But at the end of it, just like you said, pets.com, where's .com right now, right? So there's going to be a lot of those, a lot of pets.coms, and there will be some Amazon.coms that come out of this whole thing. What is that? killer application that absolutely requires a blockchain. Right now, like you said, everybody's trying to throw a blockchain at any kind of problem.
Sure.
I've seen this before as a developer. People want to look at the latest and greatest technologies and just want to use it just because it's there, right? It's exciting, especially for nerds like me, geeks like me. It's like, oh, this is the new shiny thing,
Yeah.
I have to do this now, whether it makes sense or not. And that's going to be, that'll keep happening for another year or a couple of years at least. And then eventually it'll kind of settle down, and there will be this one killer application which, needs blockchain, and that's where it's going to go from. Right? That's my idea.
I actually asked this question to my followers, like more than 500,000 followers. I asked them what they expect for blockchain to go more public, to get more acceptance from public, something like that. And most people think that it will take almost 3 to 5 years in a fully functional mode. And it will be faster than internet, because when we look back to tech history, we see that at the last years, the new technologies are becoming more common in a faster way. Like it's taking just a few days for one app to go public, to get 1 million users, to get 2 million users, something like that.
Right.
Yep.
It's getting faster and faster with the technology development. So I think it will be faster than internet, and much more faster than internet. But still, we will need some time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be faster. Well, it shows it'll be faster than the internet, because our IP address isn't pinging to the regional server. This is all on a node network, so we can just hop through each other's nodes and get to where we need to go and share what we need to share through a blockchain such as that. But what I want to point out, though, for our viewers, is that Smart Darion, what you guys are doing is sharing with this community, the blockchain and crypto community, what those solutions are, how they're coming to light. You guys are reporting on that stuff, which is cool, because if you don't have those media outlets or those resources that are telling the world what is in development, what is happening, how are people ever going to know about it?
Right.
Because I think that's a pain point in this industry right now, especially for outside mass adoption. In order for that to happen, there needs to be a simple news outlet to go to and read about blockchain solutions, instead of going to Reddit and GitHub and trying to learn what computer coding is and doing all these things. Keep it simple and fresh and clean and new, and give people a place where they can go and learn what blockchain is 101, as well as, and if for you guys chose the Ethereum blockchain. But I think that's great. More projects like that need to come to light in order for the mass adoption to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. You touched upon that, like Jeremy was asking me earlier, how long did it take you to understand what a blockchain was? Like, again, going back to, I'm a technical guy, it took me some time. So somebody who is not technical, for them, blockchain, what is blockchain? They kind of equate blockchain with crypto, or just blockchain with Bitcoin.
Right.
At a very high level, that's what I would think most non-tech folks would kind of equate them. But obviously that's not the case, and that's the education process that needs to happen, and people need to get comfortable with blockchain applications.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. What solution are you most interested in seeing in the next 3 to 5 years? Is it a currency solution? Is it a voting? Is it something currency across borders? What solution do you think would have the biggest impact, or which one do you think you would like to have the most impact?
Do you have?
I think currency across borders has already happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's great, and everyone is using it. Even non-technical people, even if they don't know anything about tech, they are also using it, and they are investing some amounts. Also, they are trading. They are trying to understand it. So I think that level already has passed, something like that. But what we will see is you can see lots of lists about what's going on, what will be the future about blockchain solutions. But as we have also talked about before, there are lots of hypes. So the question is, in which categories, in which sectors do we need blockchain in a very critical way?
Yeah.
Everyone is saying, yeah, okay, I will use blockchain in that sector. I will use blockchain in that sector. But do we really need it? Do we really need it in that sector? But supply chain is actually one of the biggest instruments that we can use in industry, I think, for me.
Yeah. Supply chain. We were media sponsors for a supply chain conference in Houston, and there were a whole bunch of these big name companies who were there. There was Accenture, there was Deloitte, there was obviously Chevron, Shell. There was a whole bunch of these massive companies, and they have investments, small investments, very tiny investments.
Yeah.
They're concerned, but they do have investment. They've got their toe in the water as far as blockchain is concerned. And they're all trying to look at what kind of solutions they can probably get out of with blockchain. There was the Port of Houston, Port of Antwerp, so everybody in the supply chain, they were there. And again, going back to an earlier question about, how long do you think it's going to take? So companies like Chevron and Shell, they're looking at 5 to 10 years. That's their horizon as far as blockchain applications that they will absolutely be utilizing. 5 to 10 years is their horizon. For smaller companies, and of course, these large, massive enterprises, it's always slower for them. They're these big ships. Moving them around is a little harder. But for smaller companies and even for finance companies, I think in fintech, the blockchains are going to be, like JP Morgan has their own blockchain called Forum. So they've built their own. So that's definitely an application. But in supply chain, just based on talking to the guests over there and just the speakers themselves, it just seemed like that it's just absolutely ripe for disruption. Supply chain seems to be still in the 20th century, as far as visibility. We know if something ships from Amazon, a $10 thing that we ship from Amazon, we know exactly where it is, at what time, and what date it's going to get here, and all that stuff. These people ship millions of dollars worth of stuff, across continents, and they apparently have not a lot of insight into where what is.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue.
Yeah, totally. Two things I wanna point out. One being, and based on what you guys were describing earlier with your DApp, how you briefly described your DApp compared to, let's say, a Steemit or a DTube or something where you need to connect to the blockchain. I think you guys are again serving another pain point, and that is the user interface. The easier it is to get on and interact with the blockchain without even knowing it. Like, we get on Wi-Fi. Hey, do you know what Wi-Fi is? The simplicity of Wi-Fi now.
Exactly.
Once the simplicity of connecting and interacting with the blockchain becomes much more easier from a end user standpoint, we'll see more mass adoption too. And it sounds like you guys are doing that. So I think that's great. But not to deviate away from the supply chain conversation, I do think that we're going to see a lot more of a difference between a public blockchain, a permission blockchain, and a private blockchain. I don't think that's being explored enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that's being explored enough. These big companies aren't going to create a public blockchain so that anyone can go in and tap in and see the ledger. They're going to create their own internal private chains that it still provides that solution, where the information is decentralized within the company. But then you can also you can extrapolate from there and have the permission chain where other companies can come in and you can grant access, and they can see those resources. So I think that's going to be a neat development in the space, is how the private and permission chains become much more prevalent than they are now, because I think that's going to be very key in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a key point right there in terms of enterprise adoption, because companies like, Shell and Chevron, they were talking about security and confidentiality, those kind of things. Sure, you just have an address on a blockchain, but it's not that hard to, I guess, kind of reverse engineer who that person is, that address. So these companies don't want their information out in the public. Somebody said everybody is all for transparency as long as it's somebody else's data.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
When somebody else's data, yeah, I absolutely would like to know that.
Right.
I'd like to know how much you make, how much money you make, how much you make.
Yeah.
But when it comes to revealing my own, I'm like, I'm not sure about that. So that's the biggest. So the permission and the private blockchains that you're talking about, Brian, that's exactly right. That's something that will have to be sorted out. I think most of these companies are working on that and trying to figure out how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I think so. Jeremy and I like to call this the business idea podcast as well, because we always pitch these ideas or just throw ideas out there to spark conversation, and we're always like, man, that'd be a great business. But what if, and that's why I'm doing this right now, but what if there was a blockchain, and there probably already may be a group who's working on this already, but a blockchain that is on that enterprise level that can connect mass data with each other. So eventually providing a bridge between blockchains. And I believe that may be what EOS is doing, but being able, so let's say Coca-Cola has a blockchain for eternal metrics and information, and their supply chain management company or whatever company, security company needs permission inside that blockchain. How does that get bridged so they can share that big data? I think that would be a huge solution.
Yes, absolutely. And to take that one step further, not just the big data, but a lot of these companies, they might have their own blockchains, or even if they're public blockchains, there might be different flavors of it. One might be on Ethereum, somebody else might be on EOS, so on and so forth. And one of the challenges that somebody from the CIO at Port of Antwerp said was, we don't want to be connecting to 8 different blockchains.
Yeah.
8 types of blockchains. So the solution that you're talking about would probably, if you extend it from just the big data silos into, connect multiple big data silos, but also connect different blockchains themselves. If that's another idea that could be implemented.
Yeah, totally. So here's a question for you guys, because you brought up a really interesting part not too long ago about just blockchain developers. So who right now is leading the space in the education environment of teaching blockchain development? Or is there a company that's doing it? Or who's helping and teaching other developers on how to develop this stuff? Because I think that's a massive lack right now.
Right. Sully, you've been talking to folks about, education and stuff.
So actually, BlockGeeks seems to be a very good source for self-learners.
Okay.
And there are also some recruiters in blockchain area like Aura. Last week I have made an interview with the co-founder, and it's very hard, and they have some connections with Ukraine or Russia.
Right.
So it's a little bit easier for them to hire someone and to find the right person in the right place. But mostly there is a scarcity in the area to find a blockchain developer, and also blockchain educators, I think, some helping about this problem. And we are also right now trying to make a partnership with an education partner who will develop a tool for develop some uh, content and also videos and also certification in our platform.
Nice.
But
That's huge. That's a great idea.
yeah, to
Yeah.
find the right guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very smart to have a certification creation where they have to, if you're going through and someone's trying to hire a blockchain developer and they go, oh man, you're certified through smart Ethereum or any other, whatever the program might be called. I think that's a phenomenal idea. I love that.
Jeremy,
Yeah, we're excited about that.
there's actually I'm a certified Bitcoin professional.
Yeah.
And there's a certified blockchain professional, but I don't think they've released the curriculum yet. But that's with the C4, the Cryptocurrency Certification Consortium, and they haven't. I don't think they've released the certified blockchain professional.
Correct.
But it's going to be interesting to see who those individuals and who those
Correct.
groups are teaching it, and how are you determining who's an expert and who's certified? And I think there's going to need to be standardization in this space as well. I know that the ISO, the International Standardization Organization, is working on specific standards, but it's going to, I think, you asked the question about education. I'm seeing colleges start having more in-depth blockchain classes, developer classes. I don't know if they have majors or minors yet in blockchain development, but I mean, it's coming. It's going to be there. It's a necessity right now.
Yeah. So that supply chain conference I was talking about, to you about, which was late last month, was actually hosted or organized by the University of Houston. So they actually have these computer science professors who are starting to look at blockchain education or courses of some sort.
Yeah.
Obviously, they won't be, it's a university, so it won't be a blockchain, a bachelor's degree in blockchain or something like that.
Right.
It'll probably be a course as part of their CS, for the CS graduates, something along those lines. But to answer your question, I think a lot of these universities have started looking at blockchain, and I think that's coming. That's definitely coming as well. But obviously, not everybody wants to go back to school to just learn blockchain, right? And that's where the efforts that we are putting together will go about kind of helping educate people who are just interested in blockchain in general.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting to see self-education habits now, instead of you have these generations that are coming up now that see you're supposed to go to high school, then go get higher education, maybe a master's, and that's appropriate for say a doctor or a surgeon, but everything is very accessible on the internet now, and you can be self-taught very easily. So it's going to be, and I think blockchain's doing that again, disruption, decentralization. Those centralized silos of higher education may be getting rattled a little bit by the different educational components that are out there right now, like what you guys are providing. I think it's great.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So one last question on my side. I know we've been holding you guys for about 45 minutes now, which I appreciate your time immensely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Regarding an investment point of view, so let's say you have just your average, your average 9-to-5 person who wants to invest in this space. What would your advisement be, or what would your opinion be on what's the best route for someone to go in order to invest into either blockchain or into a specific solution? What's the best route for them to take?
We are not actually investment advisor.
Yep, of course not.
But as a media person, like what I can say, like just reading all the news, reading all the stories, writing all the stories, and checking them credibility. So what, from our experience, what I can say, I think it's better to invest, just like for every other people can say, to diversify and make your investment on the technology side also. But you can also do some in the token side, tokenization.
Right.
So you need to make it maybe 50-50, but you absolutely need to focus on the technology side also.
Yeah.
And also, but the problem is, what's your expectation?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
short term or long term, or how can you wait? How long can you wait for it, for the
Right.
result? So you need to ask these questions first for
Right.
yourself.
Absolutely.
So maybe you can make just always, like a trader, buy and sell, buy and sell. But you can also just buy and hold it, or you can invest on the technology side.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
And,
that's a.
I'd add one point to that is follow somebody like Jeremy Newsom who knows what he's talking about.
Exactly.
Thanks, man.
That's the right point.
You guys are hilarious. I love it. No, thank you. No, I love that point about the
No,
time.
don't listen to me.
Yeah.
You need to listen to Jeremy.
But I mean, the point you made about time frame, man, is so important because you're 100% right. I mean, it's the 3 to 5 year aspect. I think you're 100% correct because, like the tech bubble, we went through the mass hysteria phase, and now we're in this phase where no one's going to care about it anymore. It's going to become boring. The hype is over, and only the people who truly care about this progression, who really care about the solutions, those are the ones who are going to forge in the dark, in the quiet, and 14 hours a day, developing and grinding away, and those are the ones that are going to eventually reshape the surface of this fintech environment, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, going back to the point about pets.com, that's where we are at right now.
Yep.
In terms of investments, yeah, you can invest in crypto for sure.
Yep.
And if you are so inclined to invest in ICOs, obviously everybody needs to recognize that risk, right?
Yep.
That they're potentially investing in a pets.com.
Yeah.
And they're going to lose all their money
Yep.
at the end. So it is something that investors need to bear in mind before they actually take the plunge. And of course, going back to the education part of it, figure out what is important as far as a blockchain DApp is concerned. Read their white papers. If you're investing in ICO, read white papers. Understand what it is. There are a lot of white papers which are 15, 20, 30 pages long, and they're filled with fluff. They don't really have any meat in them. I've read more than a few of those. You need to. I mean, those are dense, boring kind of documents, and it takes time and effort to actually read them and understand them. So it's not this blockchain and crypto. It feels like a get-rich-quick kind of scheme, but yeah, it's not. It's not at all. It takes time and effort. Either you do it for yourself, or you get somebody to do it for you. Hopefully, you can trust them enough. But yeah, there needs to be some research done.
Absolutely.
Also, you need to be careful about the if the community, if the public is ready for this technology or not. Like, you can offer something bigger, but if you can't find the people at that time, you can fail. And if you have invested all your money at the first level, you can fail. So you need to be very careful about the timing. So there were lots of ideas in dot-com bubble. Actually, they were great ideas.
Yep.
But the problem is, internet was not very common at that time.
Yep.
So most of them have failed because of this reason.
Right.
And also some of them have failed because of legal issues, like music streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first comer?
Yep.
So, but right now it's not over there. So we need to be careful about the timing also.
Timing. Oh man, absolutely key. Absolutely key. Brian, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm absolutely good. But I do think that last point made is important.
Yep.
The disruptors like Napster aren't around anymore. So there's going to be these leaders and these disruptors in this space. Watch what they're doing, and there's always opportunity to enhance and make something better. And I know that that's going to happen again in the next 3 to 5, 10 years. We're going to see these early disruptors, these people who are working outside the lines. But then there's going to be replicators. There's going to be people who are going to do the same thing but make it better. So watch everything. Watch how it develops. I'll give you guys a plug, smartethereum.com, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Is it .com?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great
We'll link it in the description. Big Ethereum buffs, go there, check it out. A lot of great information. It's a great resource to learn, keep up with the Ethereum blockchain, the different dApps that are going. And we'll follow back up with you guys on another episode when your dApp gets launched, when you're ready to launch that dApp, because I think that's going to be a huge,
it's a great
huge
idea
podcast.
right now.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for the time. This could have easily been a 4-hour conversation, but I know you're very busy. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Have a good one.
All right, you too. Wow, that was phenomenal. Oh my goodness. I just got done with the interview. Wanted to send a thank you for all those who are watching this interview and watched the entire presentation. We truly appreciate it. We do our absolute utmost every single Thursday to create an incredible new episode, new interview with thought leaders and game changers from around the world. Tune in next Tuesday for your exclusive Patreon edition of the IR4 podcast. For all of us here and for all those around the world, traders, investors, and thought leaders, thank you so much. Love, live, learn. We will see you all later. Bye-bye.